signal seems to be good. Hello, hello. Checking. We're sending data. All right. So, hello everybody. Let's go ahead and get into the stream. So, today is August 4th, 2026. It is currently 9:35 in the morning. And what are we about? So, hold on, let me go ahead and pull up my streams here. Skip tutorial. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is pulled up over here so I can monitor. There we go. All right, excellent. So, what is this stream about? We are focused on the acquisition of academic skills, academic tooling. Every single profession requires a particular proficiency in a subset of skills. You don't have to be good in everything. You only have to be good in the skills that are necessary for your particular application. So if you're a doctor, you need to know how to use a scalpel well. You need to know how to do sutures. You need to know how to diagnose medical conditions, so on and so forth. There's a wide range of tools that are necessary for a doctor. If you are a dentist, same thing. If you are a farmer, if you are a gardener, if you are a plumber, all of these different professions require you to have proficiency in a skill set. And the world of academia is no different. Everyone already is somewhat familiar with the basic skills that are necessary for the academic world, primarily because of the schooling that you went through. So a public school is essentially designed to teach the basic skills that are necessary for knowledge acquisition in order to be competent in your day-to-day work and in your careers. Academia takes this idea and turns it up a notch, and we are not just concerned about proceduralism, which is what most professions are interested in. Most professions are interested that you know how to follow a procedure, that you know how to perform well in a given domain, and you don't have to have much more understanding beyond that in order to be proficient in your occupation. As an academic, you take proceduralism one step further, and that is you want to be good and have a good procedural understanding of the knowledge acquisition process itself, of the ability to be exposed to an idea, to ruminate over the idea, to categorize the idea, and then to reproduce the idea. We work in the realm of thought itself. Now, just because something is in the abstract, just because knowledge is in the abstract, doesn't mean that it has some concrete, true tools about it. We don't get to just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. We actually have an ability to create a robust and rigorous framework in which knowledge can be manipulated, can be considered, and can be brought back out to people in order to be something of value. Ultimately, that's what we're about, is value adding. We want to add value wherever we go. And that's any profession. You take raw materials, you transform them, and you then produce something of value for your customer. As an academic, you have a customer, you have a student, you have a journal, you have a publisher, you have a public who are expecting you to go out into the world of ideas, to glean interesting and sound concepts and bring them back in order for us to derive greater value. That is the work of an academic. Now, the three skills that are absolutely essential for the pursuit of this concept of academia are the acquisition of knowledge, the categorization of knowledge, and the recall of knowledge. Acquisition, categorization, and recall. These three aspects of the academic process are absolutely essential. As you go through your career, all you're doing is essentially performing different variations on these three skills. Are you listening to a lecture? That is acquisition. Are you reading a book? That is acquisition. Are you writing notes? That's acquisition. Are you then going through and reorganizing your notes? Are you going through and culling your library? Are you going through and determining what is the most important idea to hold on to and to pursue? That would be categorization. And finally, recall. Recall is, it could be as simple as the memorization process itself in all of its various facets and forms. It could be the actual presentation of information. That is recall. And those three things, those three parts of work, acquisition, categorization, and recall, are the hawser rope. If you've ever seen a hawser rope before, what it is, it's a three-strand. It's a three-strand rope that goes back centuries, really 1,000 years, I believe. We have twisted rope, but then we have hawser, and that's spelled Hawser, hawser. And what it is three strands of rope that are braided together. And those three strands, when you plait them together, when you braid them together, you end up with a stronger and more robust cord that can hold much more strain, okay? And that's essentially what we're doing. We have constructed a three-strand rope, and the rope itself is academia, and academia is then pulled along by these by this three-strand rope. So essentially what we're doing here is we are building our rope. We are constructing our cord to pull the process along. Now, with that being said, how do I go about this process? How do I go about the process of presenting this information? Well, I am demonstrating the acquisition process through the use of Gregg Anniversary Shorthand. This is a style of writing in which you are looking at the mere phonetics of language, you are looking at the compression of speech, the identification of frequently used words, and the truncation of those words. So it's all about brevity, fluidity, and ergonomics. Brevity, fluidity, and ergonomics. This is the shorthand way. And granted, this approach, this style, is not for everybody. I don't advocate that everybody go out and learn shorthand, but I do think that there is great value and great merit to its use, especially in the area of reducing strain on the hand if you're doing extended periods of writing, because after all, the academic process, it is all about knowledge acquisition, and knowledge acquisition can only be gained through the writing down of your thoughts, the writing down of your thinking, transmitting it to paper so that you can then better categorize and understand it. And so with that being said, that is why in the knowledge acquisition process, or the knowledge acquisition feature of this study, it is taken up by the Gregg Anniversary Shorthand. Now, the categorization portion of the study is the understanding of how to take smart notes, or how to take atomic notes. It goes by a few different names, and it's the idea that knowledge, if it is worth having, if if a thought is worth turning into an idea, then the idea should be concrete enough and concise enough that it can sit on a single card. If it can sit on a single card like a single 3x5 card, essentially one sentence, if you can boil an idea down to one sentence, then it is an idea worth having. And if it is an idea worth having, it is worth connecting with other ideas in some sort of it is worth connecting with other ideas in some sort of network or framework. A lattice work is another name for it, in which you can then trace back through the thread of ideas and see the patterns, the emergent patterns, okay? And this is the idea of the slip box method, the slip meaning the piece of paper, or the Zettelkasten. You've also heard of it in that way before, and it was popularized, or I should say championed, by a professor by the name of Niklas Luhmann. He was a sociologist in Germany through the 1960s until his retirement. I believe it was in the 1980s or 90s, and he was an amazing an amazing professor and really took this concept of creating a rigorous network of notes to its extreme. He, I believe at the time of his death, he had 19,000. Hold on, let me go back to the previous page and see what his the number actually was. I believe it was 90,000 if I'm not mistaken. Just go back here. I should have made a note in the book earlier. Go see here. Dun-dun-dun. It was, get the gist. Looking through the area. It's not coming to me right now, but it was an exceptional amount of notes. But essentially what it was the idea that if he had started, so he started this process in his 30s, and if he had been consistent in his note taking, then by the time he retired, by the time he passed away, he would have written approximately or an average of 6 notes a day. 6 notes a day, and that process provided him an amazing repository of information, but information that was constructed in such a way where he could easily access that information. And that's why that belongs in the categorization aspect of knowledge, the categorical relationship with knowledge. So remember, you acquire knowledge, but then once you've acquired knowledge, you have to categorize the knowledge. You have to be able to go back through and understand the knowledge properly and understand it in a fluid way where you can then construct and transform the knowledge into something that is useful. And then, so those are the two areas of the stream that I am pursuing and that are necessary for study and for conceptualization. And with that being said, if you are interested in grabbing a copy of the book, there is a link down below to an Amazon page where you can pick it up. Even if you're not interested in shorthand, or if you're not interested in becoming an academic, if you have any interest whatsoever in being a better thinker, in being a more clear writer, then it is well worth your time to consider this book, to take up Sonke Ahrens' book, and to consider this idea of the categorization of knowledge. Now, I just want to make one quick note, and that is the third strand of the academic rope, so to speak, and that is the memorization process. Currently, I am not engaged in a presentation or a study of the mnemonic processes. I do hope to go through with that in the near future, but at the current moment, all of my time is channeled into the completion of this book and also the acquisition of Gregg's shorthand, two areas that I consider to be I'm a little bit more lacking in those areas, and so therefore I need to put more time in. So I'm essentially constructing two strands, and then once the two strands are strong, then I will add the third strand, and then we will have our nice solid and complete rope. All right, let's go ahead and get started. What I need to do is I need to go ahead and pull up the forms here. Throughout the process, as I'm doing my copywork of the book and the presentation of Gregg's shorthand, if I encounter words that are not in the dictionary, then I note them on a piece of paper off to one side, and I add them later. So now is such a time. I have around 20 words to add to the dictionary. So without further ado, let's begin. I have been going for about 13 minutes. I normally run these streams run for around 3 hours, and so let me go ahead and get my timer started here. 2 hours and 45 minutes, and without further ado, let's begin. So I have my software pulled up over here. This is GIMP image editing software. GIMP standing for GNU image modification program, and it's a wonderful piece of software that is really really wonderful for this sort of work. And what I do is I essentially am taking a raster image, and sorry, I'm changing out the nib on my pen. You take a raster image and you convert the raster image into an SVG or a vector image, and then I export the vector image to the website where you are then able to see it. Okay, go ahead and put this over here. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. The first word is hormone. Hormone. Okay, so for this we're going to go HO, which is hor, and then mon. So we go H, and then imon, mon, like so. All right, so that is hormone, and we can put a little bit more of a curve at the beginning to show, like that, hormone. And then we add the H, the aspirate, to the form. Good. Now I go ahead and select the image, cut, and paste over here in Inkscape. Inkscape is the program that allows me to then turn the raster image, which GIMP is a raster image program, and raster means pixelated. So I can take the pixelated form and I then turn it into a pathway, and a pathway uses vectors. And a vector, it's also called polygonal or pathways, and it fills in space. It's not really a grid. It's simply points to points, and then it fills in the area that's enclosed by the pathway. So I need to go over here to text editor, and once I have text editor pulled up, then I have to grab the pathway for the file in order to then add this to the directory where the forms are being housed. So this is hormone, and now, oh no, that would be hormone. I need hormone. Hormone is, it has an O hook. That's a U hook in the M. So let's go ahead and undo, and we need to redraw this where we go hormone, like that, hormone. Grab the value, cut, and we paste. So we're going to go over here, we close down Inkscape, and we drop the new value in, and we apply the change. Okay, go ahead and export the change. This is hormone.svg. We need to make sure that we are exporting the selected value only, and we want this as a plain SVG. We then export the value, and that's it. Okay, now one thing that I do want to do, especially for these words here, I'm going to show you the process. So I'm going to transform this back. I'm going to flip horizontal, and I'm going to flip, Gregg has already flipped, and then I need Inkscape to also be flipped. So I'm left-handed, and so I do all of my forms backwards, okay? Or what most people would consider backwards, I call it mirrored. So essentially, most people, if you're right-handed and you're writing in English, then you are writing from the left-hand side of the page to the right hand, and you fill out from left to right, left to right, left to right. And if you are left-handed, you learn how to modify your grip so that you can then produce the lettering like a normal person. But the problem with that is that you're always pushing. You're always pushing against the paper. You're not pulling, okay? And pushing puts more fatigue in the hand. Now, obviously, as a left-handed person, you just learn to accept it. That's just your life. And so it's no real big issue. However, if you are learning a system, in this particular instance, it is for you personally, it is for your personal use. No one else is really going to see the value in the forms, in the lettering. Then what you want to do is you want your personal acquisition style to be completely tailored to you. You want it to be completely tailored to your style, to your way of doing things. Don't feel like you have to bend to someone else's methodology just to please them. You do what works for you. So that's why I do mirrored shorthand, okay? And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you the process that I go through to make the forms as I would see them. And then when it comes time to do the actual writing, then I will flip the image so that you can see it in normal flow, just to gain greater familiarity. After all, left-handed folks, we're only 10% of the population, so it's in our best interest to be as gracious to other people as possible and to not demand that things are are made easy for us. Okay, so with that being said, we have the word hormone. And once I have the word, it has already been exported, hormone.svg. And so what I can do is I close down without saving. I close the image without saving, and I go ahead and cross it off the list. And not only are there new words that are being added, but there are also phrases. So the beautiful thing about Gregg is that you have the ability for really easy words. You have the ability to grab entire phrases or entire groupings of words, okay? And so in this instance, we're doing the same thing. We have each other. We have each, okay, each, and then other. Two words put together, and those two words put together means it can save you just a little bit of time in the writing of the words because your pen never has to leave the page, using a principle from cursive handwriting. Now, one thing I do want to do is, and I have to confirm that each does curve towards the beginning of the line of writing. And you'll hear me say that very often when I don't say left or right when I am doing my imaging. I say the beginning or the end, or away from the line of writing or the beginning of the line of writing. The reason for that is because the line of writing, all it means, at least for me, the way I think about it, it only means the beginning of where your line starts. Line of writing is the beginning of the line, kind of a shorthand way of saying it, okay? So like for me, line of writing is the right-hand side of the page. For someone who is right-handed and who is writing in normal fashion, line of writing is on the left-hand side of the page, okay? So line of writing is the beginning of the page. Now, this is the phrase each other, eachother.svg, and it has been sent, so I then close without saving. I go back over here to GIMP, and I close down the page. And the next word that I have to add is with which, okay? With which, like so, okay? I grab the value and grab the raster image, paste the raster image in Inkscape, convert to an SVG, apply the change. And now with the SVG, or the pathway, I then add it to the list. So this is with which.svg. Close the image down, close without saving. I go back over to GIMP, and I start up the process again. The next one is the word ancient, okay? Ancient, A-N, and then shunt. So we're going to go ain, and then shunt, like so, ancient. Grab the word, cut, paste, convert to a pathway. We have ancient.svg, close the image, complete, and redo the process for the next word. The next word is going to be flood. All right? F-L-O-D. So we go F-L-O-U-D, flood, right? Flood, like so. Put a little bit more of a graceful curve at the beginning, and there's your flood. All right, so then we go ahead and cut the image, cut the raster, and we paste. We apply the change, flood.svg, close the image down, we now have synesthetic. Synesthetic, there's a name for you. So for that, we're going to go ahead and synesthetic refers to multiple stimuli of the brain at the same time. So, or I should say, multiple stimuli of the senses, multisensory relationship with information. Alrighty, so we have synesthetic, and synesthetic can be done with sinus, and then we're going to do aesthetic. So for this, we have to look up aesthetic, and that is STH. We go over to the dictionary, and I'm searching for STHETIC. Is that STHETIC? STHETIC. And there we have. So these are all the different variations of aesthetic. So you see we have aesthetic, aesthetic, anesthetic, aesthetics. And so in order to show aesthetic, you simply add that circle to the end. So if we're talking about synesthetic, then we simply add the circle to the end, okay? So we're going to go over here, and we have sinus, and then static. So we have synesthetic, and that would stand for synesthetic. Syna, and let's go ahead and do synesthetic. Syna. Can't say that. Synesthetic. Okay? And that refers to multiple sensory perceptions. Okay? Grab the value, paste the value, and we apply the change. Okay, so then we apply the change, and we now have our pathway, and we go ahead and turn this into synesthetic, and let's make sure we spell it correctly. Synesthetic. Is that spelled correctly? SYNESTHETIC. THETIC. Yep, that's it. Okay. And I need to confirm that that is the actual spelling in case there's not an extra E. So we have synesthetic. And we could also do synesthesia. That is the way it's spelled. And that's synesthesia. 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 Yeah. Ooh, boy, that is something to try and say that. Synesthesia. Synesthesia. And so we're doing synesthetic. Synesthetic is how you would say it. Okay. Synesthetic. All right. So that is synesthetic. And now we need to do synesthesia. Synesthesia. So we're going to go back over here to GIMP, and we're going to write in synesthesia. And for that, we're going to look up thesia. Thesia. Maybe there's a different way to spell. Oh, and we lost connection, it looks like. Let's go ahead. Yeah, we'll come back online in just a second. Disconnecting. We are back online now, it looks like. Yep. Good. All right. So, synesthesia. And so, that would be synesthesia. So, For that one, we're going to have to modify the form slightly, and we go sinus, and then maybe let's make up an ending. Let's go thesia. Thesia. So we go, this is going to be sinus, thesia, right? So if we add a thesia to the end, synesthesia. And the disjointed thesia at the end should be good. Now if we add it to the word, we have sinus, and it should curve up for the and then curve down. Because if we curve like this, synesthesia, that might work. Synesthesia. Let's see what precedents we have to add a word here. Go over to the dictionary. Je, it's just adding je, and we're looking for thesia. Thesia is not a word. Oh, wait, there's anesthesia. Okay, it curves. Oh, okay, all right, there's the form right there. Anesthesia. Anesthesia. I misspelled that. There's an extra CH in there. Ha. All right, so I need to change that. Let's go back in. Okay, so let's go ahead and undo this one. Boom, boom, boom. We need sinus, thesia. Okay. Control-Shift-A. Synesthesia. Try it again. Synesthesia. Okay. Synesthesia. Grab the value. Cut the value. Paste it over in Inkscape. Apply the change. Export. And this is now synesthesia. 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 There should be an S there, right? Yes. Synesthesia.svg. Grab the value, we cut the value, and once again, synesthesia is the sensation. It's multi-sensory response to information. And we go back over here to GIMP. We cut synesthesia, and now we go to retrieval. And retrieval is, we go retrieval. Grab the value, cut, paste, apply the change, export the change. Retrieval.svg. Good. Close it down, close without saving, and we press on. So now we go. So I guess this is going to be the story of this morning. We're back online, but it looks like we're going to be spotty this morning, so oh well. We'll try our best. Okay, so decay. Decay was the word we were looking for. Decay. Grab the value, cut, we paste. And this is decay.svg. All right, so let me go ahead and close down this other Firefox window so we're not using more resources. And we go ahead and close down decay. Go back over to GIMP, select the whole image, and now we need to add entrench. Need to add entrench. So entrench is going to be entrench. So we go, actually no, this one would probably need to be in, oh, and then we have to have trench. So we go in, and then tren, T-R-E-N, in, trench, like that. Okay, entrench. So in, curve the beginning just a little bit more, and then drop it down. So there's entrench. Okay, we apply the change, and then we go ahead and export the image as entrench.svg. Go ahead and close this down, close without saving. We go back over here to GIMP, and now I do need to check and see if we have trench at all. So if we go in here, let's check up trench. Yep, then there's trench. So you see that trench, and then we have entrench is just to add to the beginning. Re-entrenchment, so on and so forth. Retrench and trench. Good. All right, so that is that form. Now let's go ahead and continue. So we go back over here to GIMP, and we do the next word. The next word that we have to add is neurons. Neurons. So go over here and neuron. 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 Like so. Neuron. Let's go ahead and check. In the dictionary we have neural, I believe. Neural. And so this one is just neuron. Okay? So we grab the value, cut, paste. This is neuron. Neuron, or also the cells in the brain. So we then export neuron, like all neurons firing is the way that you'd use it. So we have that word there. Let's now go back over to our listing. Now it looks like retrieval has already been added, so now classroom. Classroom. Joint phrase, so we already have class, and that one would be K-L-A-S, and then room. R-M. Okay, so K-L-A-S, R-M. Classroom. Cut, paste, path, export. Classroom. .svg. Close. Impractical. Impractical is our next word. Close without saving. Go back over here. Impractical. So for this one, we have and then we already have practical, which is the practic or practice with a disjointed L, I believe. So let's go ahead and check that out. Go over here to the dictionary, and we're searching for practical. Yes, it's actually a disjointed K. So we have over here, we take practical and we simply add a K and add an M in front, and then that gives us the value for impractical. Impractical, okay? So there's our value. We cut the value. We then paste the raster image over here in Inkscape to convert to a vector. We convert, we find the pathway, and then we export the pathway. This is impractical. Impractical. There we go. .svg. We then close the page and we start up the process again. So we go back over here to GIMP, and we now need to do the word 20. Now 20 is the same as twin in that we use an E vowel, but with a, so we go 20 and then 20, like so. You just put a line under the I, and that means that we're dealing with a 20. If you look up the word twin, you see that that's the form for twin or twine, and that just adds the W sound, okay? So in this instance, we take the same concept in order to do 20, okay? Cut the value, paste, apply the pathway, export as 20.svg, okay? Close the value down, close without saving, go back over to GIMP. Next one is the word bang, okay? So here we go. Bang is B-A, and then the stroke going down for bang, like so. That's bang. Grab the value, cut, paste, apply, bang. Okay. Close without saving. Go back over to GIMP. Next word. Commonsensical. Commonsensical. So for this, we're going to, this is actually, it sounds really difficult, but what it is you go common, this stroke, it's a K, and then it's a M in stroke, and then we add sense, which is sense, like so, and then add a K ending, and that's sensical. Okay? Sensical. Because if you look up sensical in the dictionary, okay, so that's nonsensical. So yes, that is correct. So you see sensical, like so. So that's commonsensical. We grab the value, cut, paste the value, turn into an SVG, apply the change, and this is commonsensical.svg. Okay? Go ahead and close down the file. Go back over to GIMP, deselect the whole page, and now we add vein, okay? Vein. Vein. So that is the word vein. We cut the value. We add it over here. And we apply the change. We convert. Now this is two words. It's both vein. Yes, I do want to replace vein because I kind of like my form better. And I also want to add the word vein. Okay, so we've done that. Now we need to add the word artery. So we're going to go close this down, close without saving. We go back over here to artery, and no, I wrote down the word artery, but didn't we find out that it actually was in the dictionary? It is, yes. So let me go ahead and erase that one. We already have artery. And now we can go back and turn on and grab electronic. That was the word that we were needing to add from earlier. So for that one, that is L-ic. And that's electronic. Because if you look up electron, that's L-on. And so electronic would simply be elec-on-ic. And so now, if that's electron and we have to add the ic ending, then it's possible that we need to do in-ic, okay? Even though that's not a known ending, if we do in-ic, then this is electron-ic. ick. Okay? So let's go ahead and grab the value, cut the value, paste over in Inkscape, convert to a pathway, and this is electronic.svg. Close down the file, close without saving, go back over here to Inkscape or to GIMP and erase electronic, and now we have to add sudo. And I think we already have sudo in our lineup, but it would be a plural form, right? Or it would be a prefix form, because you could add it to anything, pseudoscience, any of those. And so you have sudo, like so. So we have sudo, sudo, like that. All right, so we grab our value, we grab the page, or the form, raster image, and we then paste it over in Inkscape, convert the raster to a vector, and we then export the vector. So this is sudo, S-P-E-U-D-O, for sudo. And there we go. So we can go ahead and close without saving. We go back over to GIMP, complete the process again. So we have as long as. Now, as long as it's a compound word, like as much as. So we go as long as. Okay, that's as long as. We grab the value, cut, and we paste. Okay, this is as long as. Grab the image, we apply, and this is 3 words, as long as. .svg, cut the value, close without saving, go back over to GIMP, close it down, and now we need to add categorize. Now categorize, we take category, and then we add eyes to it. So we go categ, and then rise, categorize. Categ, rise, categorize. Okay, cut the value, paste the value over in Inkscape, apply the change, turn it into a pathway, and then we go to categorize. Categorize.svg, close down the file, close without saving, go back over to GIMP, select, and that's one more word. Now we go to hierarchical. So for this one, we're going to take higher R K col, like that. So we go higher, a circle vowel, or a diphthong, and that's hierarchical, like so. Okay, let's go ahead and clean it up just a little bit. So we go higher R, higher R, col, like so. Grab the value, cut the value, and then we paste the value. Apply the change, export the change as hierarchical. Hierarchical.svg, close the file down, close without saving. We go back over to GIMP, and we do the process again. So the next one is going to be completeness, okay? So for this we have complete, which is K and P, and then ness is simply adding the ns to that. So we have completeness. If we search for complete in the dictionary, we need to confirm that that is the case. Complete, yes, and complete is that form, so then ness just adds it to the end. So we're going to go ahead and grab our value here, we cut, and we paste over in Inkscape, convert the raster to an SVG. SVG is then exported. Completeness.svg, Oh, it says it already exists. Is that true? I don't see it. Comp. So we're searching for comp, and we need completeness. Where's completeness? Is it just not coming up in the lineup? Compliance, complicity. If it's there, why is it not showing? Let's search for it. Okay, hold on. It says that it is there. Completeness. It says it's there, but it's not showing. Oh, did I misspell it? No, I don't see it anywhere. It already exists? Okay, well, that's actually a misspelling, isn't it? Complete. Okay, does completeness requires the extra E, doesn't it? Let's go take a look. Yes, completeness. Yeah, that's completeness. So completeness. Yes, I do want to replace it. That's odd. I wonder why it's not showing. Very interesting. Okay. Well, whatever. We got it now, so we'll close without saving. We'll go back over to GIMP, grab the value, cut the value. We're going to do completeness, and then the next one we need to do is the word per, as in the word percent or something like that. So we're going to go per, PR. All right. Go make sure it's nice and rounded. There's per. Grab the value, cut the value, convert to a pathway, apply the change. And this is the word per. Per.svg. Close down the file. And then, oh, actually, let's go ahead. Can we undo? No, so we're going to reselect the image, and I do want to go ahead and make the word purr as in like a kitten's purr. Okay? Control Shift E, and this is purr as in P-U-R-R, purr. Okay, there we go. Let's close without saving, and we go back over to GIMP. Do the whole process again. Next one is meta. Meta. Okay, meta. Meta. As in meta-analysis. Now, what's interesting is if you did meta in front of something, like meta-analysis, then that might require, we could just do maybe an analysis, right? So, but for now, or it could also be me-analysis, because that would be enough of a stroke. So if we Alt-Shift-B to turn it into a pathway, and then we're going to export, and this one is meta just by itself, okay? Now, let's go ahead and add a word here. Let's do meta-analysis. We're going to set a precedent here. So over in GIMP, we're going to look up, well, first we're going to go to the dictionary, and we're going to look up analysis, okay? And we want meta-analysis. So meta would make a really good brief form. So let's do analysis, and we're going to add meta in front of it as a prefix. Okay, so that is analysis. Here, analysis, and now we're going to add meta in front of that. Okay, meta-analysis. And so now, anytime you see meta, like metacognition, meta-analysis, meta-story, it refers to the big thing, okay? Because if we search in the dictionary, I don't think we have meta by itself, right? We have metamorphosis, metaphysician, metaphysics. Okay, actually, I'm wrong. So metaphorical, metabolism, they're using just met by itself. Okay, so we would need meta-analysis. So let's go back in here and we'll actually change that. We will do meta-analysis, but we'll go ahead and undo the whole thing and we'll add meta-analysis. So this is meta-analysis, like so. So we have meta-analysis, like so. Okay, let's go ahead and straighten it up just a little bit. We have meta-analysis. All right, go ahead and grab the value, cut, paste over in Inkscape, apply the change as meta-analysis. Now, meta-analysis, is that a hyphenated? Yes, it is a hyphenated word. Meta-analysis. Meta-analysis. All right? We also have things like metacognition and other words in that same grouping, but we won't worry about that for the moment. Okay? Now we'll go ahead and export. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this file here, close without saving. And we are pretty much to the end of our line. We have meta, and then we have overestimate. So this one, it's simply a matter of taking over, the over prefix, and adding it to estimate. So over, and then estimate. Estimate, like so. Over estimate, like so. Let's go ahead and confirm that that is estimate. Yep, and that's estimate. We have underestimate, and now we have overestimate. So we're just filling out the family of words here. Grab the value, cut, and we paste over in Inkscape. Apply the change. Export the change as overestimate. Overestimate.svg. Okay. And now that's it. So we go ahead and close the value down, close without saving. Go over to GIMP. We are almost there. We have only 3 more words. We have allocation. Allocation is, I think we have allocate, correct? Allocate, yes, and then allocation. So allocation is simply alloc, and then add the shun ending. So we go allocation over here, allocation, like so. Allocation. Cut the value, and we paste it over in Inkscape here. Apply the change, and this becomes our word allocation. .svg, close the word down, close without saving, go back over to GIMP. 2 more words. We have extrapolate. So you remember we had interpolate. Now we need extrapolate. So if we look at interpolate, interpolate. Okay, so that's polate is what we're looking for, and we need extra in front of that. So we go, I need to confirm that extra is EX, so EXTR, EXTR. And if you look at that, yes, it curves towards the beginning of the line of writing. So we go ahead and add that here. We have extra for extrap, and then polate. Pol, extra, extrapolate. Like so. Extrapolate. Cut the value. Paste the value over in Inkscape. Okay. Apply the change. And this is extrapolate. Extrapolate.svg. Close down the file and go back over to GIMP. Oh. Final word is stack. Stack. All right. So we have S-T-A and K. S-T-A-K. And that is stack. All right. So that is the last word in our lineup. So we've added a whole new crop of words to the dictionary. Go ahead and apply this change. We have stack.svg. Close the word down, close without saving, and now we can close Inkscape, and we can close GIMP. Done with both. Let's go ahead and save the file, and that's it. All right, so we're minimize that. We can close this down here, close that page, and what we're going to do is there's going to be a slight, probably a slight pause in the stream for right now while I go ahead and or there's going to be a slight jitter in the stream while I go ahead and upload the images to the website. So for that, I need to go over to, oh, also, what word was that? It was anesthetic, right? I need to change the name. Anesthetic. Anesthesia. Yes, I need to fix the spelling of anesthesia. Anesthesia. How do you spell anesthesia? Let's see. Anesthesia. Anesthesia. A-N-E-S-T-H-E-S-I-A. Anesthesia. Anesthesia. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the dictionary, or I'm going to go over to the directory and cd into projects and Gregg word lookup. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to move media Gregg and anesthesia, and we need th cheesy. So we're going to move that to anesthesia.svg to make it more accessible. Anesthesia. anesthesia. Good. And now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and upload all these words. So we're going to go back through and add all the words, and there's going to be a slight jump probably in the stream. All right, so I think all the words have been added. Very good, very good. Now it says there's one word that wasn't, so let's see what the problem is there. Oh. Oh, I see. If we look up the word. Yes, so I need to move anesthesia.svg. I need to move it to media Gregg. There we go. And there we are. So now if we look here, now if we try to upload the file, it should work. Oh, and it looks like there was a failure to, yeah, there was a failure to upload the file, so I need to go ahead and change that as well. Good. And there's still one problem. So what's the problem? Oh, okay, so I need to remove media Gregg anesthesia. RM media Gregg and S. It's not there. Huh. Use git restore to update what will be committed. Git add. Changes not staged for commit. Your branch is up to date. No changes added to commit. Use branch git add and or git add git commit a. Well, we're doing both. Interesting. I wonder why it's not clear. Why it's not updating. Well, that's okay. We'll leave it for now. Let me go over. I need to go back to on render. On render. And I need to redeploy the website. Go to my dashboard. Let's figure out what's going on here. And go to my project. And it was a failed deploy, so let's go ahead and redeploy. We'll do a manual deploy. Deploy the latest commit. Let's hope that it goes through without a problem. Okay, looks to be good. Yep. Everything looks a-okay. Good. Yeah, all right. Connected. So let's go ahead and keep on import error. Ooh, what was that? Ooh. Blocked import of regex from current for security reasons. So did it fail? Huh. Import error. I mean, is the website working? Go ahead, reload the page. Let's go ahead and search for. There's Anis. It did not, because otherwise it would be Anis. Yeah, because if we look up a word that we just added, stack, yeah, it didn't, oh, bother. Okay, it didn't update. Let's see what happened. Import error, blocked import of regex from, it failed. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's see what the issue is. Read our docs, common ways to troubleshoot your deploy, exited with status 1 while running your code. Let's go ahead and do a manual deploy. deploy the latest. Let's restart the service. Your server has successfully restarted. And August 4th, let's see. Let's deploy the latest commit. Because I don't think there were any changes, right? I didn't make any changes to the code. The only change was in the the SVGs that were added. So we're cloning, we're downloading the cache, and let's figure out exactly what the issue is. Unless there was a change to the packages. Now that could also be a problem. So it is installing. It's installing all of the necessary packages. A new release of pip is available. Checking out commit. Setting up web concurrency. The build was successful. So let's see what the issue is. And it failed. So let's see what the import error. Blocked import of regex from current working directory or set to prevent searching the current working directory. All right, so let's go ahead and confirm. Let's figure out why this would be an issue. Copy the log line, and let's go ahead and do a quick search to determine why it would be an issue, or what changes I have to make in the code in order to make it work. So let's go over here and okay, so I need to go ahead and also upload the Git repository, GitHub. Okay. Let's go ahead and sign in. Go. All right, so we've got this all set up here, and I need to go over to the Gregg word lookup, can figure out why there would be an issue. I will go ahead and clone. Um, So we're just currently working through the process of figuring out why that error would be a problem. Okay, not because of your lookup regular expressions. So it's cloning the repository, and it's searching through to see if we can figure out where the issue arose. All part of the fun of keeping the machinery, right? And that's essentially the idea, is that your tools are there so that when you're doing your work, you want to be in constant contact with your tools so that if a mistake arises, you can easily fix errors. So it's currently checking to see where the issue would occur. Yep, standard library code. Crash occurred while NLTK imports its external regex dependency, not because of your lookup regular expressions. I thought so. There must have been a change. There must have been a change to the packages that Python was using, and so we might have to put in a particular line to fix it. There we go. New Python runtime, it's module search security behavior, newly created, currently defaults unless you pin another version. On your web service, on render dashboard, your web service Python add. Okay, so we're going to go to the, from your local repository, okay, pin Python 3.13 in your repository. So let's go ahead and copy the code here. And I'm going to go over to my website and we're going to add this CD project in print. Okay. Now there still is one issue. We pushed pen render runtime to 1.3, printf. We added it to the Python version, and now use these confirm the render commands. So we're going to go over here, pip upgrade Python not found. Did you mean Python 3? Yes, we did mean Python 3. Close this down. Render run safe path number 1. Render dashboard your web service. So we're going to go back over here and okay, OBS is back up and running, so that's good. Let me go over here to on render and I need to go to web service and it is Python 3. What do I need to add? Let's see, what was that command? Settings. If we go to settings, build command, branch, root directory, the source, get build command, pip install, included build filters, pre-deploy command, start command, auto deploy. What was that command? Let's go back here. Let's go to the history, and we're looking deployment on render error. And what was that final command? There we go. Add Python. So where do you add the Python commands? Where's that? Render dashboard, your web service, environment. So we have to go to environment. Looking for environment. It's under connect. No, that's internal. Environment. That's events. Oh, there's environment. Region is Oregon. Settings. Dun 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 dun. So where's this supposed to go? Okay, so where does the Python safe go? In environment. Where does Python safe path number 1 go? A unique, we have the region, we have the starter, we have the source, we have the root directory, we have the build command, get credentials. Yes, I know it failed. So let's go ahead and check this out. Where does it go? Under environment variables, add environment variable under. So click environment in the left sidebar. Okay, we're over there. And environment. Okay, there's environment. And environment variables. So we're going to add a variable. That's what it is. So we go over here. We have the key is Python safe. Do not choose the save and rebuild. So we're going to go ahead and copy this in right here, the value. Hold on, is it all? Well, it said do not put Python safe. Okay, so the key is Python safe path and the value is 1. Okay, so Python safe path is the key that has to be put as an environment variable in on render. Okay, and then the value is going to be 1. And we save, rebuild, and deploy. Okay, so hopefully that fixes the issue. That would be lovely if it does. Okay, so it's downloaded. Let's go ahead and close this down. Could be we're using too much memory. Oh, let's see. Same issue as before. Well, that's a problem. Block import of regex from current working directory for security reasons. Blocked import of regex from current working directory for security reasons. Use -p or set Python safe path to prevent Python from searching the current working directory. Huh. Let's see. Would there have been an issue? Because I know I can see that this did not completely get add media Gregg. Hold on. Is it fully committed? Let's take a look. Huh. Change is not staged for commit. Git add. No changes added to commit. Your branch is up to date. Yes, I did want to get rid of anesthesia to discard changes. So we do git restore, git add, rm. Oh, okay, so we need to do git rm. So we'll go ahead and go back through here, and we have to do git rm. Maybe that, I mean, I don't see how that would be an issue, but we'll go and give it a... Now we're up to date, and let's manual deploy latest commit. Let's see what happens. Oh, it never... Okay, so we need to restart the service. And now let's try deploy latest commit. Oh. That's interesting. Clear build cache and deploy. Oh, it's stuck now. Oh. Restart service. Your server has restarted. Well, this is fun. Can we disconnect? Can we restart? Deploy latest commit? We'll restart after the current deploy completes. Isn't it already doing it? So maybe restart the page. It has failed. Yes, I know it failed. Thank you very much. I know it's failed already. I want to go ahead and restart. How do I... Ooh, view service events. Cancel deploy. There we go. Okay. So cancel deploy. Let's go back. Let's try it again. Let's try a manual deploy latest commit. Let's see what happens. Okay. Successfully. A new version of pip is available to update. I wonder if I should upgrade pip. Would that be an issue? Let's see here. A new version of pip is available. Copy logline. Maybe it's... Nope, it still does the same thing. So let's go ahead and... Yeah, it exited with a status. Huh. Let's go ahead and troubleshoot the deploy. Yep, whenever your app misbehaves in any way, always check the logs first. Logs are available in the render dashboard. So we go back here. We're going to take a look at the render file, import regex, import error, import error. Copy log line. All right, let's go ahead and figure out what the issue is. Oh, the joys of running your own website. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out. So we have raise import error was the issue. File, 3 lines. Render CLI. Nope, that's not it. No, nope. That's not going to help us. Let's go back over here. Logs copied. So we copied the logs. And let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out. What a pity. Well, I hope everyone else is having a much better day. All I wanted was to practice my shorthand. Oh well. Well, let's see here. There's also the installed contains an insec Python. Okay, so it's checking. The variable was not active in the unicorn process, in the Gunnicorn. There is also an unusual detail. The installed NLTK contains an insec.py import security hook. So we might have to do some changes to the code in order to make it run in the new environment. Setting the render configuration, so we're checking, seeing if we can figure out what the issue is. Okay. We did that though, didn't we? select your Gregg word lookup web service and then click environment in the left sidebar. We did this though. Do not place this line in requirements.txt or app.py. Change the, if the does not work, then, oh, okay, so let's try it that way. I'm going to try the render start command. We're going to do python safe path equal to 1. So we're going to go over here to word lookup and we're going to go to the website. We're going to go to environment and that's the key. That's the value. Events. So we're going to go to settings and in the build command, no, that's build command. We need run command, deploy, start commands. We're going to edit the start command so that it also includes python safe equal to 1. We save the changes and now it is awaiting build logs. Let's cancel its cloning. So it's now trying to run the command one more time. It's installing the Python version and it is connecting. Maybe we need to do we need to run the currents? The application is failing before Flask starts. And the inline assignment guarantees the variable is present in the exact unicorn process that imports app.py. So let's see if that does it. If not, that the pip and Python versions are up to date. Check that. Okay, and it failed again. So let's see. Oy. Still failed. Okay. And it failed again, so let's go ahead and so tells to prepend. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, let's try that. Um, Still failing. So let's try it again. Interesting. I wonder what this issue would have been. There must have been a change to one of the files, which requires me to then respond in like manner. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh. So the August 4 build can install NLTK 3.10.1. The new branch contains the import security behavior shown in this traceback. Ah, okay, okay. So that's well worth noting. That means that oh, okay. So that means we're going to have to lock down the NLTK version. That makes sense. So once the NLTK version has been locked, then that should allow it to work, because then it'll be specified and explicit. Still failed in the deploy, so we'll check it again. It's doing the searches. Mm-hmm. So I wonder what we need. I wonder what we need to do in order to make it work. Currently searching. August 4 build can install NLTK 3.10.1, which was released August 1st, 2026. The new branch contains the import security behavior shown in this traceback. Okay, so then that means we would need, it indicates is still not reaching, or that render installed the newly released because your requirements leave NLTK unpinned. Your file currently contains only NLTK. Okay, temporarily replace the render start command with this single command. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. We're going to export temporarily replace the render start command with this single command. So we're going to go back here to render and go to events. No, we need to go to settings. Yes, settings. And we're going to go to the start command. We're going to edit it, and we're going to save changes. All right, it's doing its deploy, awaiting build logs. And we're going to check and see what the issue is. So now the beginning of the runtime, you should see run safe path to 1 and safe path is true. Let's see, downloading, cloning. So currently still looking at the logs. These are the run logs. So downloading, it downloaded the file. It's installing, docs on specifying, using cached. So let's see here. I'm going to go back through. We're going to read through the files, read through the logs. Upload, build successful, deploying, downloading, using cached, Python, setting up web concurrency equal to 1 by default based on available CPUs in this instance. We're looking for, see what happens. So it's setting up and it failed. It failed with the same fail. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy. Let's copy the logs and let's check it out again. So okay, change this line in requirements. Okay. Got it. So let's try, it failed, so I'm gonna go ahead and change my line in requirements NLTK 3.9. So let me go over to my directory and ls, we're gonna open up requirements. So we're going to invim requirements dot txt. There we go. And we need to change Control Shift V, and we're going to get rid of the other NLTK. There we go. Shift CZ, and then we need to change the results. We're going to commit and push the changes. Get add, and then get to for render compatibility. So now, if we go back over to the website, we go ahead and fail. It failed. The events failed. So let's go ahead and cancel the deploy, and let's deploy the latest commit. Let's see if that fixed the change or fixed the problem. Oh, and do I have to change the... I have to change the command, don't I? So isn't it just Gunnar? I wish I could have... You know, I don't see any reason. There's no security issues. I think I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm up against. It's actually kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and go to I think I'll just create another source, and we'll do full screen. Add one existing, and we'll add this behind the value. There we go. So now you can see... Yes, now you can see the full screen. Let me minimize. Actually, we'll do this right under. There we go. So as you see, the service is live. And so this is the website here. There we go. Build an app. Yeah, it did deploy now, so that's working finally. Let's go ahead and see if we can figure out what the issue is. So, available, your primary URL, it is live. I need to go to settings, and I need to confirm that the run command has been set. We need to change the run command back to the... We have to change it back to the original version, which was Gunnicorn, I think, right? Gunnicorn.app. I think it was, if we go over here, Gunnicorn, after that, yeah, we need to change this back. Gunnicorn app. So we go here, go into edit, grab the whole value, and we change it to Gunnicorn app. Okay? We save the changes, and then we're going to have to see about it, a redeploy. Okay? So now the website is running again. So Python 3, it's deploying. It's set the web concurrency by default based on available CPUs. Everything else should be good here. If we go to the GIMP here, clear the page, ls, no changes were made here. The branch is up to date. So we go back in here, available at your primary URL. So that solved the issue. So what it was essentially, it was a problem with a package called NLTK. So NLTK is, and if we do a quick search, boy, it's been a little bit of time since I've done this. NLTK, let's look up NLTK. It's the Natural Language Toolkit. It's an open source Python library used for natural language processing, for text preprocessing, tokenization, and linguistic data corpora. So that's what I use. I use NLTK in the Python app in order to pre-process the web search. So if I'm over here in Gregg lookup, which if I then reload the page, we should have the new instance. And if I type a word, then let's say one of the words we just added, right? So stack. So stack is now in there, which means that it deployed properly. So as I'm entering the words into that form and it's searching through, it uses NLTK, the NLTK, which is Natural Language Toolkit. It uses that package in order to then allow me to go through and sort out the words, okay? Now, if I go back over to terminal, and if I open up in Vim, I'm going to use in Vim, and I go into requirements. Oh, there we go. .txt. And you see, so currently I have to explicitly set my package here. This is the shorthand. These are the package requirements. I have to set my NLTK version explicitly to 3.1, 3.9.4. The reason for that is because the word before, or just the render, will automatically upgrade to the newest version of NLTK. And apparently there is a regex error. There's an import error where it fails because of security reasons. You can't go through particular directories. You can't search for directories using NLTK 3.110 or 3.10. And so therefore I'm holding NLTK at 3.9 for a while until they get that security issue taken care of. So that is all there is to it. Let's go ahead and go back over to OBS, and we can now get back to work, okay? So let's go ahead and go back to, now we can finally go to the Gregg, we can pull up Zernal. Okay, so I can go ahead and close all this down, right? And we should have the website back up and running. So we check, we have, yep, it's showing correctly. Let me pull up Zernal. Well, that was a fun, what was that, an hour? That was like an hour and a half or something, just to go. Oh man, that was like an hour just to get the website up and running. You know, it's hey, it's a labor. That's all part of the work, and so you do the best you can. So now let's go ahead and go to OBS, and we're going to add Zernal. There we go. We share the page, and now we're back to normal. Okay. So that was a long interlude, or that was a long prelude. Now let's go ahead and get started. So with this, we are on page 109, and we had just been talking about the necessity for using the correct keywords when you are building out your index, right? So you don't want to think like an archivist, you want to think like a writer. So you don't ask the question, what is the best keyword to use? You ask the question, what is the keyword that is going to help me get to the idea most quickly? In what context? That's key. In what context do I want to find this note again? Not, the question is not what is the best categorization for this word. It's in what context, in what category do I want to find the word when I'm looking for it? Okay. So now let's go ahead and read back over the paragraph, and let's scroll back through. We're looking, if you remember, this is where I was starting to lose my brain last night. So let's go ahead and find the last paragraph marker, which is right over here. Zoomy zoom zoom, there we are. All right, so now we can go ahead and read through, and hopefully I'll be able to read as much as I can, but like I said, I've got my book right here, so I just reference it as needed. So here we go. As writers, that's the previous paragraph, so we're looking for, that's distinction. We're looking for the next paragraph down. Did I drop it? We're looking for contribute. Contribute would have been the last word, which is here. So let's go drop a paragraph marker here. All right, and now we begin. So let's grab our marker here. If you are economist working on decision, that's decision distinguish, right? Is that the one? They're very similar to each other. Decision. Gross. So decision is incorrect. Let's go ahead and fix that. Decision making. There we go. Working on decision making, or you might, so that's, you might think of the preference, you might think of the preferences, there we go, of the preferences management often, you may think of the preferences management often shows for projects with an easy to visualize, that's easy to visualize outcome, yes, over more profitable, over more profitable. Okay. So he says easy to visualize, that you may, so management shows preference to projects that are easy to visualize over things, even if things are more profitable. If they're not easy to visualize, then they don't get as much focus. So over more profitable ones. Fitting keyword would then be that is capital. Yep, that's capital. Yes, we were looking at capital allocation problems. Capital allocation problems. So that would be a good keyword as a writer. But by assigning the keyword, by assigning the keyword alone, the note is already the what? Is already put. Oh, that's put. Is already put into a specific context. Yes, a specific context, which gives it a particular meaning and triggers context-specific questions, like if this is a systematic effect, can it be measured? Has someone already measured it? Does the effect show up in available data, like the market value of public what is that? That is a public public listed, yeah, publicly listed companies. And if so, is it that companies? And if so, is it that companies with, I need to check companies. Does it have an E at the end? No, it doesn't. All right. Is it that companies with products that are easy to visualize have richer value? Oh, that's it. Richer valuations than those who often service, no, than those who offer services or products that will that are rather difficult to grasp. So he's saying, if you have a product that is easy to understand, that is easy to visualize, do people value it more over the companies where a service is being provided? Or you have a product that is a little bit harder to visualize, is a little bit more difficult to hold in one's mind, even though it might be more valuable, objectively speaking. If it's harder to see, if it's harder to visualize, is it considered less valuable? Okay, so those are the sorts of questions that would be triggered by this particular note, which is why you can see it would be so valuable to grasp. And if not, is it that the experimental findings, is that findings? I need to check that. Findings. Findings. Yes, that's findings. Good. The experimental findings cannot be this is the extrapolated. Cannot be extrapolated, or is it that the knowledge is already publicly available and therefore priced in, and therefore priced in? Okay, so in other words, people already know about this phenomenon of visualization, and so therefore it's already factored into the pricing of an item, and therefore it's not in the hands of the public. Priced in. If not, is it another argument against the efficient market hypothesis, or just a good way to stack the odds in the stock market in your favor? All right, so that's the sentence. And so as you see, it's by using a good keyword, you can really expand the exploratory nature of a particular word or of a particular idea. So you always want to choose good keywords when you are constructing your knowledge base in order to most effectively get back at that information in the context that you wanted. Okay? And here we go. By assigning this keyword, that's the next section, by assigning, and this requires the in, this keyword, comma, you might stumble upon, and stumble is the one where we have to go T, S, T, and then M, B. You might stumble upon already existing notes. Upon already existing notes. On capital allocation. On capital, I believe that's capital. Let's go ahead and check that out. Yep. On capital allocation. This is the word we just added this morning. Allocation. Comma, which either help to answer these questions, does either require an R, or is it just ith? Let's see. Nope, that's either. Good. Which either answer these questions, or trigger new ones. Or, that's the end of that page, so we move down here. Trigger new ones. New ones. All right? Period. But maybe you are a political scientist. But but maybe you are a political scientist and political. This is the P-O, I think it's pol and then K, correct? I think that's political. Political. Ah, no, it's not. It's the circle. It's the circle value. So we go pol. There we go. Pol. And then a circle. Political. All right. Maybe you are a political scientist. If so, I'm sorry for you. Scientist. And read this note as an answer. And read this note as an answer to the question of why certain topics, to the question of why certain topics are discussed during an election are, and then discussed is going to be DS, isn't that DSK? Yeah, discussed during an election. This is election, probably it. Let's see, here we go, election. Let's see if that is correct. Ah, it requires the requires a second E vowel, like so. Election. Yeah, it's a little longer. There we go. And others are not. So why certain topics are discussed during an election and others are not, comma, or why it could be, or why it could be politically more sensible. Politically is just P-O. We just did political, and then I think you add the little circle for politically. So let's check that. Beautiful. That's exactly what it is. Why it would be politically what? Sensible. Sensible is going to be S-E-N-S and then bull. See, just need to confirm that that is the case. Yes, good. Why it would be politically sensible, politically more sensible. More sensible to promote easy to visualize solutions. Yeah, well, that makes sense. That's common knowledge in a way. You make something easy to see, and that's called vision for a reason. You give people a vision, like Martin Luther King. I had a dream, that's a vision. So I don't know. It seems like they're talking about common sense right here, but who am I to say? And then promote. So we go promote. Let's see if that's correct. We have promote. Let's see if that is promote. Good. Okay. Easy to promote, easy to visualize. So we have our good old hyphenated friend here. Easy to, and then visualize. That's visualize. Down a little further than I would have wanted, but oh, come on. I want to turn off do not disturb modes. Do not disturb. There we go. No notes, please. All right, so visualize. Let me check that one more time. Visualize. Doing it search. Searching, 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 and there we go. Oh, I forgot the U-hook. So let's go ahead and add the U-hook. Here we go. Visualize. There's visualize. Promote easy to visualize, and then solutions is I can't remember if that's a brief form or not. I seem to remember it. Is it solutions? Solutions? Let's take a look. Ah, beautiful. That's solution. Yep. Solutions. And then we go ahead and put a little tail on it because it is plural. Over solutions that really work. Easy to visualize solutions over solutions over solutions that really work. And, to be honest, I mean, that's why in the ancient classical understanding of education, you were trained in 3 categories. You were trained in the area of grammar, in the area of logic, and the area of rhetoric. And that's super important, okay? So what he's saying here is solutions that really work. Solutions that really work are logical solutions. They're solutions that make sense, that are coherent, that are categorically sound. Everything about them is good. However, we are fallible. We are easily persuaded. We need to have the vision in order to understand something. And the vision doesn't always make sense. The vision it's not always logical. So it's the job of someone who's trying to convince people of the truth of something. You have to put it in a framework. You have to put it in a mental model that makes sense to the person. And that is the easy to visualize. That's the easy to visualize quality. If something is just true, but it's not easy to visualize, you failed. You have failed. As a thinker, as a writer, as someone who is trying to convince their audience, you have to go through the process, the hard process of converting the truth that you know into something that is easy for other people to see. That's why, if you look at the great speakers of the past, you look at Martin Luther King, you look at John F. Kennedy, you look at Winston Churchill, you look at FDR, you look at any of the great speakers of our presidents, or in the logician world, in the world of law, and you see that even if someone has truth on their side, even if someone has the ability to speak the truth, if they do not have the ability to speak the truth in a way that stirs people up, that grabs them by their heartstrings, that pushes them forward to the truth, you failed. You cannot just have truth on your side. You have to have the vision on your side as well. And that is super key. That's why you learn. That's why you learn all 3. That's why you learn as an academic. You learn how to grab information correctly. You learn how to categorize it correctly. But then you also learn how to recall it correctly. And that's why recall is sticky, and it's ugly, and it's personal, because you have to bend to the way that God made us. If you don't bend a knee to the way that we naturally are, and you demand that we're somehow different, then you might as well just sit in your ivory tower and not even try to teach people. It's impossible. So that's why you would want to have information that is easy to visualize. You try and make information easy to visualize. That's what Feynman was doing, right? So anyway, back to what we were saying. Now I'm off my soapbox. Let's continue. Fitting keywords here might be political strategies. Fitting keywords here might be, quote, political strategies. Once again, this is referring to the contexts in which you would want to find the note. So fitting keywords here might be political strategies. Strategies. Add that to the line below. Strategies. So that's going to be, isn't that STR and then G? And then you'd add an ES onto that. So let's go take a look. I don't even know if you need the E. Let's try strategy. Oh, yes. This is the one where we need to have the A and then the T. So we go STRAT and then GES, strategies. Close quote. So this would be one keyword, would be political strategies, comma. Elections would be another keyword that you might want to use. Once again, it's all dependent on what you would need as a writer. So we have elections or dysfunctionalities, comma, political. Or, I don't know if that's actually dysfunctional, but to each their own, right? That's why we're engaged in the academic debate to determine the actual meaning of words. So dysfunctionalities. This is going to be dysfunction. So this is function. And then for alities, I think that might just be an A ending, but we'll check. Ality. That's qualities, so we would want ality. Ality, so these are all the different variations of ality, and you see it's a disjointed L. So dysfunctionality, you simply add an L below that, and then you add dysfunctionalities for the pluralization. Comma, so dysfunctionalities, comma, political. And there we go. So now what I need to do is, good old list, I'm going to add this to the dictionary. So dysfunctionality. Dysfunctionality. Good. All right. And that's the end of the paragraph. So now let's go ahead and go back to the beginning of the paragraph. Hopefully I dropped a paragraph marker. We're looking for by assigning. So we'll go back here previously, looking for by assigning. Here it is. Drop a paragraph marker there, and we begin. By assigning this keyword, you might stumble upon already existing notes on capital allocation, which either answer these questions or trigger new ones. But maybe you are a political scientist and read this note as an answer to the question of why certain topics or discussions or why certain topics are discussed during an election and why and others are not, or why it could be politically more sensible to promote easy to visualize solutions over solutions that really work. Once again, if they really work, then make them easy to visualize. Kind of makes sense, you know? All right, fitting keywords here might be political strategies, elections, or dysfunctionalities political. I don't think that's a dysfunctionality. I think that's a bug. You just learn how to paint. Be an artist, man. Be an artist. You can't just be a thinker. Be an artist. Paint a vision for people, for goodness sake. Okay. Whatever. Until I get a little hot under the collar when the political scientist suddenly comes along and says, well, it's not the best way because it's not easy to visualize. It's like, okay, then do the hard work of making it easy to visualize. People don't want to work. Okay, here we go. Keywords. Keywords should always be assigned. Should always be assigned. Oh, and assigned needs to curve up. There we go. Assigned with an eye towards the topics. Assigned with an eye towards the topics you are working on or interested in. You are working on or interested in. Interested in. Comma. Never by looking at the note in isolation. And that's key. Never by looking. So, once again, now that I'm off my soapbox, I completely agree with Sonke on this point. Interested in, never by looking at the note in isolation. Never by looking at the note in isolation. I don't know why, but I just love the look of this one. Isolation. And this one, isolate. I think the L needs to curve around the other way for isolation, correct? Isolation. And I added isolation, didn't I? Yes, good. Or it was there previously. Very nice. So there's isolation. Added in isolation. Never by looking at the note in isolation, period. Move down the line. This is why this process cannot be automated. And this is key. Once again, you could not use AI for this. This is why, reading through this book, I'm convinced, and see, this is an argument that I would have to make. I hope to make, actually. It's kind of fomenting in my mind, the argument against using AI in the academic process, because in so doing, it completely circumvents this aspect of knowledge, okay? Like, earlier, I'll admit, when I was trying to troubleshoot the reason why my website wasn't working, I was using ChatGPT for that. You put in the call log, it can identify, okay, this, change such and such. That is a perfect application for large language models where no understanding is necessary. But if you dare use large language models for this part of your understanding, this part of your knowledge base, you might as well not even engage. It's because you're a mute. You're blind. You've put your own eyes out. You have destroyed your own vision because you can no longer see the patterns and you can no longer project where you're going to need information. So this is a perfect example of where a large language model is simply not up to the task and should never be employed. Simple as that. So this is why this process cannot be automated or delegated. This process cannot. This is why this process cannot be automated or delegated. And automated, and that's automate, and then, oh, what is automated? Because that's automatic. So what's automate? Automate's not a word. Automation, there we go. So that's automation. Automate. Okay, automate. Automate's not in the is not in the dictionary, so that needs to be added. We go automate, and then ed would simply be an extension. So we go automated, like so. Let's go ahead and add that to the lineup down below. Automated and automate. Okay, 2 words to add. So automate and automated, or delegated. Or delegated. So delegated. That's probably it. Let's go ahead and check delegate. Delegate. Oh, grab the value. Oh, it's even easier. No need for the G, just DEL. And then we do a disjointed T below that in order to demonstrate the delegated. All right. Cannot be automated or delegated to a machine or program. To machine. Machine is this, right? I think it requires an E. Let's see. Machine. No need. No need at all. Just the M-A-C-H-N. M-A-C-H-N. Machine. Cannot be delegated to a machine or program. And program. It requires thinking. It requires thinking. Which is so funny. You know, people, they want to use AI to make their life easier so that they can do what? It's a blank question, right? So they can do what? What? Experience life? You know, you can't experience life. There's no, you wouldn't have anything on the other side of it. So if you're not going to be using your time wisely, if you're not going to be using it to do thinking, to do writing, to do understanding, to do the work that a machine can't do, why would you even use AI? It's, man, you know, it's shaping the way I'm thinking for sure. It requires thinking. The ZKN3 program, for example, makes suggestions. The ZKN3, and then ZKN3, this will be underlined because it's a name Z. ZKN3, and 3's below, _3. Might have to put this on a new line. The Z, turns towards the line of writing. ZK in 3 program, for example, makes suggestions based on existing keywords. Makes suggestions, isn't that is suggestion? Is that suggestion? Close, close. It has to be S-U. Suggestion. Suggestion. So we go suggestion, makes suggestions, and that's plural, based on existing keywords. Based on existing keywords. And scans for keywords in the text you wrote. And scans for, we need to add another page below this. How to take smart notes, page 7. This is 12:1 through 5. How to take smart notes, 12.1 through 5. And then this is page, there we go. This is page 7. All right. So we go back up here, and we have 4 scans, SK, scans for keywords in the text you wrote. Scans for keywords in the text you wrote. You wrote, period. But it makes sense to see these suggestions more as a warning sign. Oh, I like that. But it makes sense to see these suggestions. But it makes sense to see these suggestions more as a warning sign, more as have I done warning? It's or ing? Is that warning? Let's check it. Okay, so it's just orn. So we n. Makes sense? As a warning sign, then an invitation to use them. That's it. Careful what the machine gives you. Sign, then an invitation to use them. Then an invitation. This is so go invitation. Is it T-shun? Probably. Let's take a look. So if we go invitation, possibly. Let's go ahead and see. If we go invitation. Let's check that out and see if that is correct. Go back to invitation. Grab the value, invitation. Yep, that's it. Good. As an invitation, then an invitation to use them. To use them. These are the most obvious ideas. Oh, this is really good. These, so in other words, the keywords, these are the most obvious ideas. Okay? And probably not the best ones. And probably not the best ones. That's really good. Good keywords are usually not already mentioned as words in the note. Ooh, wow, that's really good. Good keywords are usually not already mentioned as words in the note. Good keywords are usually not already mentioned as words. Already mentioned. Is that mention? Let me check. Yep, that's it. Let's make the D just a little bit longer. So we go mentioned, already mentioned are usually not already mentioned as words in the note. Period. Assume I have the note, and then he gives an example. Assume I have the note. Assume I have the note. And then he has a quotation. A sudden increase of ad hoc theories. Sudden. Sudden increase. Let me check sudden. Yep, that's sudden. A sudden increase in ad hoc theories. In, and then ad hoc. Ad hoc. I think I'm going to create a word for that, ad hoc, because I don't think it's in the dictionary. Ad hoc, right? No. Ad hoc is a Latin phrase, and it's it's useful. It's used a lot more in academia and legal work, but it might be good for someone to use at some point. So we have ad hoc theories. And ad hoc means like spur of the moment, I believe. Let me do a quick definitional search on that. Ad hoc, yes, it means for this. It's arranged or done for a specific purpose or temporary need, a one-time solution or one-time situation rather than as part of a permanent plan. So that's ad hoc. So you do it for a particular instance and then you don't plan on doing it in the future. Ad hoc. So like an ad hoc fix, or they use examples here, ad hoc committee, on an ad hoc basis as they happen instead of following a fixed schedule. Another one is an ad hoc network. This would be a computer or a wireless setup created on the fly for a current task without a permanent router. So that's where you have ad hoc, okay? That is your information for the day. Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and continue. We have, so the note was a quote, a sudden increase of ad hoc theories is for Khan, or Kuhn is for Kuhn, and Kuhn is the name of the researcher, is for Kuhn, so that's Kuhn, underlined, a sign that a normal silence phase might be in crisis. Is for Kuhn a sign that that a norm. What is normal? Is it norm? No, that's knowledge. Normal. Is that just a long, is it a long in-im stroke followed by an L? Is that normal? Let's see. No, okay, so it goes normal. So you have to have that slight jag in the line here after the in stroke in order to show the value. So normal. There we go. Is a normal a sign that a normal hyphen silence phase, normal silence phase might be in crisis. Might be. Now, might be is mob, I believe. You do M and then B, or is that maybe? Let me check. Might be. Might be. Oh, yes. Because maybe is this, right? This is maybe. So might be curves in like that. Yes, and I think, well, I can I can see that's my stroke, so I stand or fall. If that's a bad stroke, then, my fault. Mea culpa. Might be. Phase might be in crisis. In crisis. Okay? That's crisis. Period. That's the end of the quote, and that was Kuhn, 1965, page 96. So that's Kuhn. Oh, no wonder I couldn't do Kuhn. That's Rune. Kuhn. There we go. Kuhn and Kuhn. Best weld instructor I ever had. Kuhn, actually, best teacher I've ever had. 1967. 1967, page 96. Page 96. And that's the end of the reference. And then that's the end of the quote, too. Okay? I need to check crisis. That looks correct to me, but it's always good to confirm. And I'm glad I did, because the S needs to be shifted up just a little higher. I mean, it's close enough. It gets the idea across, but we can go like that, crisis. And that one, so Kuhn, 1967, page 96. End of the sentence. A fitting keyword might be paradigm change. Fitting keyword. And here we go, might be again. So we have might be, quote, paradigm shift. Paradigm is going to be para and then dime, because para can serve as a prefix, I believe. If you look up paradigm. Oh, hey, even better. Look at that. Look at that. We get to use just DM. Paradigm. Love that. I thought I was being smart, and I found out Gregg can be even smarter than me. How about that? It's almost like I'm learning something. So we have paradigm change is the keyword that we might want to use in the index. So the index, if you put paradigm change, then that would be referenced to the note. That's essentially how it works. Key, index, key, and then connection. All right. Oh, yeah. So let's go ahead and continue. We're almost at the end of this paragraph. But that phrase is not in the note. So paradigm change would be a good keyword, but that phrase is not in the note. But that, and then phrase, F-R-A-S, is not in the note, and therefore would not be suggested, and therefore would not be suggested, and suggested by a program or found by full text search. By a program or found by full text. And full text, is that oh, that's hyphenated, so it's going to be full text. Let me check full. I was puzzling over full. Yes, full and fully. What's the one that I did? Is it fill? Yes. So full has the U and fill is just the F. Yeah, okay. All right. Because I remember, I think yesterday we did fully, and that kind of caught me off guard because I thought, didn't we just put, isn't just full an F stroke? But hey, there you go. So found by a full text search, and search is such, which is it backwards? Because I know research has it backwards. But let me check and see. Yep. Yes, it's backwards. Good. And that is the end of the paragraph. So now we can go back through and read back over what we just looked at. Pulling back through to the previous section. There's our paragraph marker. And it starts with keywords. Here we go. Keywords should always be assigned with an eye towards the topics you are working should have at the dot for the ing ending, working on or interested in. Never by looking at the note in isolation. Boy, that should be underlined. Never by looking at the note in isolation. Okay? This is why this process cannot be automated or delegated to a machine or program. It requires thinking. The ZKN3 program, for example, makes suggestions based on existing keywords and what's that? And scans for keywords in the text you wrote. But it makes sense to see these suggestions more as a warning sign than an invitation to use them. These are the most obvious ideas, and probably not the best ones. Good keywords are usually not already mentioned as words in the note. Assume I have the note, quote, a sudden increase in ad hoc theories is for Kuhn a sign that a normal silence phase might be in crisis. Ad hoc theories might be a normal silence phase might be in crisis, and that was Kuhn, 1967, page 96. A fitting keyword might be paradigm shift, and that phrase, but that phrase is not in the note, and therefore would not be suggested by a program or found by full text search. You know what's so interesting is that in some way, we earlier he had been mentioning how the easy to visualize political strategies are the ones that you grasp most quickly. Not necessarily, I should say, the easy to visualize theories are the ones that you grasp and consider more worthy than the ones, those are the ones that are considered with greater value or as having greater value than even the ones that truly do have greater value. That is, in a way, that's kind of coming into play here. The keywords that are the most obvious are not necessarily the ones that you should use. It's the keywords that are striking, that have like an indirection, that have a certain element of surprise or playfulness about them. Those are the keywords that are going to be more useful to you when you're in your ideation, in your process of idea development. So it's really fascinating that in a way you are looking out for when you're doing this keyword manufacturing process, you are in a way looking out for your own bias or your own weakness as a human, in that you don't go for the most obvious. You go for the indirect. You go for the surprising, that little bit of the artistic quality. You look at it and you say, okay, I want to be a little bit more playful about this. What's another way of looking at it? Which, once again, you're developing your thinking at the same time as you're developing your keywords. So I don't know if he's going to mention it in here. Yes, it is a crucial part of the thinking process. So once again, going back to the three tools of the academic world, idea acquisition, categorization, and recall, all of them are built, or all of them are designed for the purpose of engendering thinking, of creating the spirit of thinking. And so every single step, even something as simple as choosing a keyword, you have to engage your thinking process. You have to engage your mind. Beautiful work, Sonke. Once again, this book never ceases to impress me. Or when I first read it, it was amazing. And on this close read, it's even more amazing. I feel like I'm understanding so much more. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Assigning keywords is much more than just a bureaucratic act. Assigning keywords is much more than just a bureaucratic act, and then bureaucratic. Let's take a look at that. Bureaucratic. B-U-R-A-E-A-U. Okay, there's bureaucratic. All right, bureaucrat, and then cratic is the circle underneath. Okay, so we go B-U stroke R O stroke K circle. Bureaucratic. There we go. Bureaucratic act. So bureaucratic and then act. It is a crucial part of the thinking process. It is a crucial part of the thinking process. PR and then curves down. Process. comma, which often leads to a deeper elaboration, which often leads to, and then deeper, a deeper elaboration. Let me check deeper. I don't know if it needs the E vowel, but we'll confirm. We had deeper, deep. Yep, it does. So it does use the E vowel. So we'll leave it. To deeper and then elaboration, and that is elaborate and then shun added on the end. Let's confirm. Beautiful. That's elaboration of the note itself and the connections. So elaboration of the note itself, of the note itself, and the connection to other notes. And the connection, boy, that's also becoming a real friend of mine. I love connection. To other notes. To other. Now, to other could also be, that's to other notes. That's a good phrase. All right. And that's the end of the paragraph, so we'll read through it. And that's also the end of 12.1, so now we get to start a new section on the same document, though. So here's the paragraph. Assigning keywords is much more than just a bureaucratic act. It is a crucial part of the thinking process, which often leads to deeper elaboration of the note itself and the connection to other notes. Very nice. Okay. Oi. Stretch a little, get a little bit of water. Hey, ho to the bottle I go. Of H2O, that is. All right, 12.2, make smart connections. 12.2, make smart connections is the next section. There we go. 12.2, make smart connections. Make smart connections. And new section. Here's our paragraph. In digital versions of the Zettelkasten, once again, the slip box. So in digital versions of the Zettelkasten, in digital versions, and version is versions of the, let me check version. Yes, good. Versions of the Zettelkasten. This is Zettelkasten, like so. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. We have Zettelkasten, like that. And that's capitalized since it's a German word, and of course they're capitalizing all the nouns. In digital versions of Zettelkasten, linking is as simple as it gets. Here we go. Linking is as, so that's is as, SAS. Let me check and see that. Is as. Is. Yes, I think I had changed that from is as to is because I couldn't think of any other time, and maybe, so if anyone knows of another instance where you would have is or as or as is, those are essentially, you can use the same stroke because it would make sense. Linking is as or linking as is, right? So the context itself is going to tell me which version I need to have, okay? So that's essentially, that's my thinking behind using is, okay? In digital, linking is as simple as it gets, is as simple as it gets, period. Even though the program might make suggestions, even though the program might make, so we have might make suggestions, comma, for example, based on joint literature. So we have for example, for example, based on joint literature references, for example, based on joint. So this is joint, I think. Let's see if that's joint. Yep, good. Based on joint literature references, comma, making good cross-references, making good, so making good and then cross-references. So this is KRS references, hyphenated, yep. Making good cross-references is a matter of serious thinking. Once again, you're developing your thinking. Is a matter of serious thinking. Is a matter, might and matter, is matter that? Or it just does have an R? Nope, that's it. Matter. Is a matter of serious thinking. And serious is serious thinking. And a crucial part of the development of thoughts. And a crucial part of the development of thoughts. All right, and with that, we have finished the first 3 hours of our study time, right? If we take a look, 3 hours exactly. 3 hours, 30 minutes is how long I've been streaming for. So, yay. Thank you very much for joining in. Let me go ahead and read over this paragraph. It's pretty short, and then that way I have a nice fresh start when I get back after lunch break. So we have in digital versions of the Zettelkasten linking is as simple as it gets, even though the program, I gotta check though, it curves up, right? I can't remember. Yes, curves up. Good, it curves up from the line of writing. Even though the program might make suggestions, for example, based on joint literature references, make good making, that should be a dot right there, making good cross references is a matter of serious thinking and a crucial part of the development of thoughts. Very nice. Okay, so that's the end of this page. I only was able to get one page done, obviously, because of some little snafus regarding the website. That took was it almost an hour? I can't remember, but hey, we got it solved. The website is up and running. That's the only important part. And we also added, I think we added about 20 or 30 words. 20 at least. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. We added 30 words because we had two variants. 30 words to the dictionary, so yay for that as well. And with that, we are done for now. I will be back in about 40 minutes, to an hour, to start the next section. And until then, everyone have a wonderful day, and hope that you are accomplishing everything that you intended to do today. So I will see you shortly.